What's up guys, I am back with my first actual product video in quite a while. If you're wondering why, check out my recent videos and there's a bit of explanation about what's been going on in my life. But today, I'm going to be doing a short video on this very small keyboard. This is the Cooler Master SK621, 60% size Bluetooth mechanical key switch gaming keyboard.
Excellent!
I'm going to start off with the price for this thing, which is not cheap. It's $120 MSRP from Cooler Master. Just was made available on May 7th. So that might be expensive for you if you don't regularly buy mechanical keyboards. Mechanical keyboards can often be $100, $150 plus. This one is just so tiny and cute though. Maybe that makes up for the price being 120 bucks. Also, slim, low profile Cherry MX true mechanical key switches. So we're going to give those a test as well and see how they actually feel and everything. On the box we can see some basic info about the product, the Cherry MX key switches of course, Bluetooth compatibility, so you can use this to connect up to your phone or another Bluetooth capable device, RGB backlighting per key, so you can do all of the fun customization with lighting that you might come to expect from Cooler Master RGB mechanical keyboards. And again, that 60% size just makes it so small, and I want to get it out of the box so I can look at it and be like, oh, it's so tiny. That does come in the premium velour. It's not really velour, but I like to say velour carrying case. So, you know, if you want to take this on the go, which you should do, if you're getting a keyboard this small, I feel like, unless you're trying to do one of Kyle's tiniest setups possible, this is really, I feel like, made for portability thanks to the Bluetooth connectivity. But you also have a USB Type-C port on the back as well. So you can use, presumably, the included cable. Yes, indeed, an included USB Type-C to standard Type-A braided cable with a Velcro strap included. So plug that in. I'm just gonna connect it up here real quick. And that means, yes, you can plug this in and use it like a normal keyboard, because if you were gonna use this for gaming, you probably don't wanna use it via Bluetooth for gaming. Bluetooth introduces a decent amount of latency, so input lag while gaming, never a good thing. So plug it in if you're going to be gaming with it. I do wanna do a bit of game testing on this at some point, just to see if it's a significantly different experience from using a full-size keyboard. Also included in the box though, we have a keycap puller here, as well as some documentation. This one is specifically about Bluetooth setup, and this is just the product manual. This does come with a warranty from Cooler Master. It is 2 years. French, Chinese, Japanese, Russian, should have English here at some point. Aha! So just going through to see how the Bluetooth pairing works. There's a bunch of function buttons, very similar to a lot of Cooler Master keyboards that you can use to adjust certain lighting functions on the fly, like red, green, and blue, as well as macro modes. They're all sort of subsets on the buttons here. Since this is a smaller keyboard, there's not a lot of extra function buttons on the top and bottom. But Cooler Master button right here acts as the function switch. You can press that, and then the Bluetooth buttons right here, which are under Z, X, and C, and there's actually a 1, 2, and 3. So you can pair up to 3 devices to this and have it remember them. And then if you switch to wireless mode, which is done via the small switch here on the side, then it will go and attempt to connect to that Bluetooth device 1. If it can't connect to that device, it'll switch to device 2 and then device 3. So that can be convenient if you have this set up to work with multiple devices, and you can sort of set them up per your preference. Also, the caps lock switch right here does have a little light that lights up as well. That light will turn red and flash one time every 20 seconds when it's at 30% battery, and then it switches to every 10 seconds when it's at 20%, and then it flashes much more often at 5%, and it will automatically go into deep sleep modes. And that's how you would know that you need to plug in via USB so you can charge the battery. So now I have gotten the keyboard out, taken the protective film off of the edges, and we can get a better look at it physically. So you'll notice very flat keycaps, at least upon first notice, but the keycaps actually do have a little bit of a concave to them. It's ever so slight, but it does allow your finger to kind of rest more towards the center of the keycap if you're finding your home keys without looking at the keyboard itself. You'll also notice that there are pretty much secondary functions, or sometimes even 3 functions per key, just about across the entire keyboard, and that is just because there are so few keys to work with and so many functions that it can possibly do. So we have profiles that are built in down here. We have a block of like home, page up, page down, and end keys that are over here. You have up, down, left, and right arrows over here, and then you have a bunch of extra macro and function buttons up in the upper left-hand area. So this will allow you to use Cooler Master's built-in keyboard functions to adjust the lighting and macros, which actually can be pretty intuitive once you learn it and figure out how it works. I've been using Cooler Master keyboards for quite some time now, so I sort of have a pretty good idea of it. If you do it a lot, it gets pretty simple, but it does have a bit of a learning curve since you got to kind of figure out what's what. But the manual does have a pretty good rundown of how to access all those functions, so you can do that. In particular, once you're adjusting contrasting lighting, for example, you have red, green, and blue switches here, and you can tap those up to 10 times for 10 levels of intensity for that color, and then you can combine red, green, and blue, so if you do all of them at 10, it makes white, for example, or different shades in between. You also have keys to adjust brightness levels, repeating or infinity loops for the different lighting functions, and then you even have some media control buttons here on the upper right for turning volume up and down, play, pause, forward, and back. And yes, even though they didn't put gamer in the title of this product, it does also have a Windows lock button up here on the top right. So that will allow you to lock out the Windows key so you don't actually press it and take yourself out of a game when you don't want to take yourself out of a game. The key switches themselves, being mechanical, feel very nice. They have a good amount of resistance, and I will say they definitely feel significantly better than your typical rubber dome keyboard does. And comparing it to other Cherry MX Reds, which I have over here on the Cooler Master MK850, which is their flagship, it's not all that different. It's slightly different, but both of them feel very nice, I think. The keyboard itself has a nice brushed metal top and a bit of a beveled edge around the outside. The underside of it is plastic. It does have a bit of texture to it, so that helps prevent picking up fingerprints and that kind of thing. Some rubber pads on the bottom. It does not have the little vertical mounts that help you tilt it up a little bit, so keep that in mind, but again, probably just keeping the body itself very slim. Looking at it from the side here, you can see sort of how slim that is. Unofficially, I'm gonna say it's less than 1¼ inches tall, at least that way. I did get a more accurate measurement of the width of it. Again, it being a 60% keyboard. It is very tiny, but about 11 5/8 inches wide for this entire keyboard. In the metric system, that is 224 millimeters. So that's very small. And one last thing to mention before we get into some testing is the battery life, and that is 14 hours with the LEDs on or 4 months with the LEDs off. So the LEDs do use up some power, but I guess that's a trade-off that you'll have to live with. I am going to not use the USB cable for now. I'm going to Bluetooth connect this to my phone. Original Pixel XL, by the way. Still using it 3 years later. All right, I'm gonna pair this up real quick, pressing the function and Bluetooth key for 3 seconds. Which should hopefully put it into pairing mode. New device, Bluetooth keyboard, 818. So now we're connected to Cooler Master Bluetooth keyboard 1. Now we can tap configure physical keyboard. Default layout sounds good to me, okay. All right, so keyboard's paired, so now I should be able to type a wonderful note here for myself. Note to self, when practicing typing, come on, lock on autofocus. Remember that autofocus usually sucks. All right, well, that was a quick typing test, just right here, and it works. As a keyboard, the keys that you push are represented on the device you're connected to, so that wasn't too tough at all. I would think that if you like to do work on the go, but typing on a keyboard is a lot faster than trying to tap something out on your phone's on-screen keyboard, this is gonna be really helpful for you. I mean, just pair it up, set it down wherever, type away, and kind of gives a much more like desktop-like experience with the keyboard, even if you're just using your phone. But I want to give it one more test and also give myself an excuse to play some video games, so let's play some video games. So now, having played some video games with this keyboard, my opinion of it has completely changed. No, I'm just kidding. It's still a very good and functional keyboard, and all the stuff I said earlier still applies, and pressing the buttons caused it to respond and do things in the game, so that's always a plus for keyboards. Ultimately, I would say this is a nice little keyboard, feels very premium. It does have that premium price at $120, so that's something that if you can get past it, if you're looking for something that's this small, I think Cooler Master has done a great job integrating a lot of the functionality here, as well as the Bluetooth connection. I think that's just very useful for versatility, whether you want to plug it into a desktop for some gaming there or connect it to a Bluetooth device. So this is the SK621 from Cooler Master. I'll put a link to it down in the video's description. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and for bearing with me through this sort of tumultuous time in my life, but it's been great. Again, check my recent videos if you want a little bit more update on what's going on there. But thanks again for watching. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out, and we'll see you guys next time.